All right, good Wednesday morning, everyone. 48 First Alert Meteorologist Eric Burke. Sorry for the couple-minute delay. We were waiting for that press conference to wrap up there on Local News Live. Appreciate you watching that coverage, but I also have some weather to talk about today. Today, a 48 First Alert weather day. A lot of you saw some pretty heavy rainfall yesterday morning, slow-moving a cluster of showers and a few embedded storms pushing in. And Tuesday's rainfall totals for some locations in Middle Tennessee and along the state line there, about 2 to 3 inches. So a lot of you saw some good rain yesterday, beneficial obviously, but now we've got a lot more rain falling on top of that, and that adds to some of the concern that we have as we go through the rest of the morning into the afternoon and evening. But on a scale of kind of 1 to 4 where this ranks as a first alert weather day, low being the lowest and extreme being high concern here, kind of just a 2 out of 4. We'll call it a medium. We are going to have more and more of these first alert weather days for more just kind of impactful or inconvenient weather. We're really letting people know that, hey, today's a day where you're going to see some disruptions or interruptions to your plans, and potentially looking at some stronger storms coming in through the afternoon and evening. We could see 1 or 2 rounds of additional showers and storms here. And a lot of you this morning taking the kids to school, the bus stop, or whatever your morning routine is, probably ran into some of that widespread heavy rain, and it's actually just kind of kept training over the area. We say train, think of train tracks, and that's where you just keep seeing these cells that are either stationary or they get development behind them, and they dump heavy rain over one specific location. And that's basically what we've seen for a majority of the morning. Morning model runs did not handle the extent of the morning rainfall very well. Awfully similar to what we had on Tuesday. So I guess we'll have to increasing the chances of rainfall through parts of the day just based on how bad the models have been regarding the morning rainfall. At least I think they've got a pretty good grasp on the afternoon. You see that second line there, 1 to 9 p.m. We are expecting a round or two of scattered storms. These could be strong, maybe even marginally severe. Gusty winds being the biggest threat, especially with the saturated soils. We'll see additional rounds of heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning too. So this starts as early as about 1 o'clock, continues through 8, 9 o'clock this evening. We'll have your full timeline for you coming up. Overall threat for organized severe weather is low. I think we'll see a few severe thunderstorm warnings for a wind threat and maybe a hail threat. Most of the hail today is probably pea to dime size hail, not necessarily severe hail being 1 inch diameter, quarter size or larger. And of course, watching out for not only flash flooding, could have some roadway flooding or urban flooding as well. So just kind of a lot of elements to the forecast for today, but first alert weather day, obviously. Let's get to that round or two of rain and storm timeline here. And this is pretty inconvenient. I mean, it happens often, hottest, most humid part of the day, but we're not warming up a whole lot because we saw so much rainfall this morning, and that might kind of lower our instability as we go through the afternoon. But the colors on this graphic have nothing to do with storm intensity, just simply how we break up the different sectors here. But as early as about 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for northwest Alabama, and we're probably expecting clusters or maybe a broken line of storms moving from west to east. 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the yellow area, north central Alabama, southern central middle Tennessee, up into parts of Giles County, Lincoln County, for example, including I-65 north and south there. And then finally into that orange color, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. for northeast Alabama. A little bit later, but these should be moving from west to east. This is all ahead of an approaching cold front. Now, the question that we're all asking, will the morning rain? Definitely kept us from warming up into the upper 80s, which I was initially forecasting for today. Now dropped our highs just into the low 80s. Still have a ton of humidity. You could feel that heavy air out there. Right now, looking at the radar, in northeast Alabama, pretty widespread, but it's just kind of light rainfall. And then we've got some heavier clusters right now moving through the metro areas, out through Limestone County, Athens included, out to Madison, Harvest, Tony, Monrovia, pushing out toward the Hazel Greens, the New Markets, Ardmore, for example. But we actually have some drier skies off to the west of I-65, and that's before, of course, we start to see the second round of scattered showers and storms developing later on, closer to the noon to 1 p.m. hour, right coming out of northeast Mississippi, moving into northwest Alabama. So pockets of heavier rain, just not a good day if you're even just out running errands. You get soaked. The socks are always the first thing to be soaked. So wear some good shoes, maybe even the rain boots if you have them. raincoat with a hood, have the umbrella, and then into parts of Marshall, Jackson, DeKalb County. Now, you guys have kind of missed out on some of the rainfall here lately, so this is actually good for you, picking up some of that beneficial rain as we still have ongoing dry, abnormally dry, and drought conditions across the Tennessee Valley. Rain and storm chances ramp up through the afternoon into the evening. If we see kind of a later round two, might even go a little bit later than that, but I think as far as that threat for the strongest storms, maybe even severe, it's probably from about 1 to 8 if I were to guess. So looking at kind of the broader picture here, just so you could see things developing off to our west, we have a big cluster of rain showers and embedded strong storms coming in, moving from west to east. Now, this is a touch later as far as arrival time for northwest Alabama, but I still think between about 1 and 2 o'clock, you see some heavy rain and some of those storms with gusty winds, lightning, potential for hail here, moving from west to east as we go into that evening commute. Now, a lot of this is lining up when you're picking up your students from school or the bus stop, or you're even just driving home from the office yourself. You know, between that 4 and 6 o'clock hour, the roads are pretty hectic as it is. And this rainfall can be so heavy, you've got ponding, puddles developing on the roadways, and you've got your traffic headaches, the spray from the vehicles, poor visibility, really not great timing as far as all of this moving in. We go closer to 8 o'clock now kind of moving through that Marshall, Jackson, DeKalb County area, and then finally pushing off to the east. There's still the potential of seeing some lingering showers and maybe a rumble of thunder overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. I think we'll have some rain on the radar for the morning commute on Thursday. It just won't be very widespread. Tomorrow, a mainly cloudy day. We are anticipating some off and on, kind of scattered showers, maybe a few storms popping up into the afternoon. I got a message from someone inquiring about their homecoming parade and all those festivities, big bonfire. I think it was actually New Hope. I got a message from saying, hey, we've got to make a decision sometime tomorrow. Rain chance is a lot less tomorrow versus what we're expecting for the rest of the day today, especially through the afternoon and evening. So that is good news if you have something going on Thursday. Not saying you'll remain totally dry. I'm just saying your chances of remaining dry are a bit higher. The drier air really starts to filter in by Thursday evening, leaves us with a pretty nice looking day to end the week on Friday. Skies are mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Temperatures are cooler in the upper 70s to low 80s. Still seeing a little bit of wraparound rainfall potential, but a lot of us end up getting through your Friday dry, and Saturday does look great. Should be a mostly sunny day with high temperatures in the low 80s. So here's how it breaks down. Obviously, the rain and the clouds this morning really limiting our warming here, high of 81, 70 overnight. Tomorrow, kind of off and on scattered showers, a few pop-up storms, and then the magic number, 81 again for Friday, but it should be less humid, clearing skies, small chance of running into a few showers for Friday. Speaking of temperatures, where it's raining, still in the low 70s. Out west where you've had some breaks, not necessarily in the cloud cover, but at least breaks in the rainfall, a bit warmer in the mid to upper 70s. The dew point. This is a dew point we haven't seen in a while. It's been hot, but it's been dry as far as the amount of moisture in the air. And we've got a dew point right now in the upper 60s to low 70s. Obviously, all that moisture is going to fuel the rain and storms, some of those stronger storms. One thing we're lacking today is spin or shear in the atmosphere, and that's a good thing. We're not forecasting any tornadic activity for the rest of the day. And I also want to point out, this is not the start of our secondary severe weather season that we see in the later fall. That's not coming till the end of October, November. This is just a pretty decent cold front coming in. It's giving us beneficial rain, but sometimes too much rain where we see that flooding threat. But if you've got any plans for the rest of the afternoon, anticipate some heavy rain and maybe some of those stronger storms with gusty winds, hail, and lightning, leading to potential flooding on the roads too, with all of that additional heavy rainfall. So the Atlantic, it is active. Hurricane Gabrielle, now a Category 2, was a Category 3 this morning, Category 4 yesterday, so it is weakening now out in parts of the northern Atlantic. We've got 2 more waves coming, though, and these will likely become named storms within the next day, 2 days, maybe 3 days. But there's 2 more waves or areas of interest that the Hurricane Center is watching. 90% chance of development on one and an 80% chance of development on the other. So this is basically near Puerto Rico right now, going to track to the north and northwest, and then eventually swing northeasterly. Could have some impacts for the Bahamas and maybe Bermuda. It's not all bad news. Here's the weekend forecast. That's the good news of the forecast. Drier air coming in, should be mostly sunny both Saturday and Sunday. Highs will be in the low to mid 80s. So that's worth celebrating, at least in my mind, for sure. All right, forecast for this evening. Some lingering showers. Models have downplayed the overnight rain a little bit. I'm going a bit more aggressive. 50% chance of some scattered showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder. Will be muggy, and we'll probably have some areas of fog, especially if those winds die down overnight. For the day tomorrow, periods of off and on showers, a generally cloudy day. High temperatures are cooler in the upper 70s to low 80s. Then we get to your extended forecast here. So first alert weather day will probably continue all the way through our 10 p.m. news. Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis in with you later on this afternoon and evening. He'll be tracking those stronger storms for you. Just heads up, know we'll have some gusty winds, some hail. Tomorrow's the off and on rainfall. Drier air comes in behind the front on Friday. Wind back out of the north and west. And then we go into that great weekend, and even most of next week looks pretty nice. I think we might have a front of some kind coming in Wednesday of next week. That might be our next chance of rain after today and tomorrow. And then it does knock down our temperatures at the end of your 10-day into the upper 70s to low 80s. So looks like we've got a little taste of fall, at least somewhere on that 10-day forecast. But personally, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Be weather aware through the afternoon. A threat for strong to severe storms, additional rounds of heavy rainfall. I will be on Tennessee Valley Living with Peyton Walker, and your news at noon with Matthew King in for Gina Benitez. And of course, we'll have more on that breaking news story that we're showing you on Local News Live. Updates on that, of course, coming during the news at noon too. So we will see you then. Thank you for your time. This has been Weather Extra on your First Alert Weather Day Wednesday.